Hello and welcome to the Convo Lab. I am your host, Kayren Cathcart, and today I am so excited to bring you a conversation with none other than Angeli with Grateful Box. She is the CEO and founder of this movement. And I knew that she had some great tips and wisdom and experiences to share with the Convo Lab family. So here she is. Kim, welcome to the Convo Lab.
Thanks for having me. You're the best.
You're the best. Now, y'all might think that we go way back like a Cadillac. I actually met Kim about a month or two ago when I was knocked off my socks by a speech that you gave to the Network Build Grow group. Shout out to y'all for connecting people in the Charlotte area and beyond. So, Kim, tell us about how you got into Grateful Box because you've got a storied career that meanders and starts not at gratitude, I don't think. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
A funny story about me is I was called Cruella in my insurance agency years ago.
Whoa.
It was an epiphany moment for me. You ever have a perception of yourself that doesn't exist, and then you're like, somebody just says something to you, and you're like, maybe I need to unpack that a little bit. But yeah, I got called Cruella because I was one of these people. If I introduced you to the 1999 version of Kim Angeli, when I had a $65 million quota with Cisco Systems, I traveled 8 states. I worked 90 hours a week. And if you got between myself and my $250,000 paycheck, you might have been a victim.
Well,
yeah. So are you there? Hold on.
I am here. I want you to have the screen as you tell the story.
Okay. I was like, where did she go? Where'd that beautiful girl go?
I am right here.
So I had an epiphany, and I found Jack Canfield in 2010 in an airport in a book. He wasn't in the book, but it was his book he wrote. And I discovered gratitude in that book years later, and it changed my life. And so I eventually sold that insurance agency. I did homeowners association insurance. And I used gratitude in my insurance agency to connect with the client beyond the transaction to let them know I cared about them. And it was life-changing for me to connect with people beyond, what I was doing for them, which was insurance. And so now I teach that to business owners, and I teach how to choose grateful living, right? Like, how are we actually, our Gratitalk podcast today was about gratitude is one of the highest energetic. So for you scientific people who are like, this gratitude thing is this woo-woo when you're aligned with God and all that. Okay, well, if you want to get to the scientific nature of it, yes, I am in line with God. That's why I'm here walking this journey of gratitude, because I certainly, in my own merit, wouldn't have said, let's sell a lucrative insurance agency and go start some gratitude company and hope it works. 7 years later, I'm still here. So gratitude itself is 540 megahertz energetically. So when you're walking in gratitude, I'm not telling you to, write in your little gratitude journal or whatever you're using in the morning and then go out and be a jerk at the Chick-fil-A. I'm encouraging you to be grateful as much as possible, and it be part of how you show up, right? How you show up everywhere. And because anger is 150 megahertz, it's a low level energy. So I can imagine when you walk in a room, people are like, oh my gosh, hello, how are you? And you just bring energy to the room.
I hope so.
Right? You do. You've got gratitude energy right now. Well, think about when you have a moment of anger, how heavy. Well, that's the energy of it. And so my whole goal is to inspire people to start their journey of gratitude. They don't have to be like me right away. I mean, I started out having to leave myself Post-it notes on my forehead to stop being Cruella and be grateful, right? Because that was a habit. I was just in the perform, whatever it takes, drive. And so I wasn't thinking about how I could serve others at my highest self and it not be about me.
Kim, I gotta stop you right there because Self-care is something that I have been focusing on intently, especially during the pandemic. And as I continue to age gracefully, I realize that, it is so important to take care of ourselves. So, are you telling me that if I put more gratitude into my life, that the higher energy is helping me more than being angry and upset and bitter and resentful and holding on to unforgiveness? That this is really me taking care of me as I'm taking care of others?
Yes, you're taking care of your soul.
Ooh,
You're getting in alignment. And I do it early in the morning. And if you say I don't have time, I say, well, then guess what? Then here's what you do. You take your little clock and you go, wee, and you set that alarm to 30. I don't care if it's 5 minutes. If you could do 5 minutes and you can pick up a little book. This is not even my book. This is a $4.99 book I bought at Publix. If this gets you started and you journal beside it, I don't care what you're using. Now, we have a Grateful box. We don't have a lot of them in stock because of, supply and demand. But I got started with a box from Big Lots. You ever been to Big Lots?
yeah, it's
Oh,
overwhelming.
I love me some Big Lots. I bought a wooden box off the shelf. This was my journey. And I put it beside my bed and I wrote one Post-it note a day. I was in a really, really crazy time in my life. I wrote one Post-it note a night, what I was grateful for before I went to bed. And then I started writing down what I was grateful for in the morning because I decided that it was great to do it at night. But if I aligned myself into gratitude in the morning, my day was better. And when I didn't do it, because there were times where I wasn't consistent, right? Like I'm not consistent with eating broccoli every day. Sometimes I'll eat bun cake. But when I'm more consistent with broccoli, then I feel better. I have better energy. It's no different. When I don't skip gratitude in the morning, my day is better. When I go back and say, why am I grumpy? Well, because I let that slide.
Well, Kim, I want to have a moment of full transparency and self-disclosure here. I am a lover of all things glittery and sparkly and shiny, and I have tons and tons of notebooks. I have
Yes.
tons of spiral notebooks. I have glittery, sparkly notebooks, and I have planners, several planners, as my daughter called out to me. But yet, I'd always heard people telling me, oh, start a gratitude jar. Oh, start a gratitude. And as much as I write, as much as I journal, I had not done the gratitude practice, but I started it earlier in the month. And I said, okay, as much as I love to write, I kind of tend to be feast or famine. So it's like, okay, I am limiting myself to 3 bullet points of things that I am going to be grateful for or reflecting that I was grateful for this day. And I'm doing it at night. So I started in this journal that my husband had given me for Christmas a couple of years ago, and I just now broke it in. But it was the getting started part. It was like, I know I need to do it. And so we have folks who have gratitude as a part of their faith tradition. It's like we're taught that we must be thankful and that as we give, then we will receive. But how can we move from it being just a Sunday thing or a religious discipline to gratitude being key and integral in our lives?
So the best way to start a new habit is to attach it to a habit you're already doing. Okay? So I want people to think about what is the first thing you do when you get up. And if you aren't planning your night before to have a more peaceful morning the next morning, I will tell you to start getting your day ready the night before. That's the first step. So if you get up in the morning, and like me, I have to put my contacts in because I can't see my face in front of my hand in front of my face without them. I feed the dog, I start the coffee, and I start cooking my husband's breakfast. Well, while the coffee's making, you can take 5 minutes. Put the notepad and the pen beside the coffee maker. There's something you're doing in the morning. You're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off the minute your feet hit the floor.
No.
There's something you're doing that allows you 5 minutes to write down gratitude because you can go back to it. I can go back to my 2014 journals when I still owned my insurance agency. I was miserable in my own skin. I lived 3 hours away from it, and I knew there was more to life. I can go back and look at the negative energy in that journal versus my journal today. I can see the trajectory of my writing. And if we don't write it, the devil doesn't want us to write it.
You're
you know
right.
why he didn't want us to write it?
Because it's powerful. And when
He
we
doesn't
write
want
the vision,
us to see the transformation. He would have loved for me in 2010 when I went online and bought gratefulbox.com, because God encouraged me to do it, and it was illogical. I owned an insurance agency. The devil would have loved for me to not have been obedient and let that flow right off my mind. But see, I'm not like that. I'll say, I should go do that. And I just go do it. So if you want more happiness in your life, if you want the outcome of more peaceful living and happiness and joy in your life, is it worth 5 minutes of your day?
I was like, yes.
Is having more joy and more peace of mind and less fear and worry? See, gratitude is the antidote to fear and worry.
Ooh, I like that.
See, worry and fear don't hang out with gratitude. They're not friends. And when I have a worry, I replace it with a prayer. Thanks be to God. Renew a right spirit in me. Let go and let God be God.
I love that, Kim.
So when you're in gratitude and at that higher energy, it's very difficult to get down into fear and worry. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you have this magical life. I'm like, I don't have a magical life. I've just learned habits that serve my gratitude and my highest energy source, which is God, who I'm in alignment with. And the more I can be in alignment with him, the more things in my life work out like a hot knife through butter. I know that sounds woo-woo and all that, but the more I'm in alignment with where I'm supposed to be and why he gave me breath, the more things work out for me.
I'm supposed to be interviewing you. I'm here taking notes. And girl, you own it. That is the truth.
I want people to go back and see how many times fear and worry are mentioned in the Bible. I want you to tell me. I want you to stay in fear and worry.
No.
Not leave it to me. I haven't seen that yet.
Fear not.
So we were called to be believers, not achievers. And a lot of us out here are trying to work.
Guilty.
And we're not getting in alignment. Gratitude and journaling in the morning and getting your nose in the word aligns you with why you're here. God is trying to speak to you, but we're not listening. We're not taking the time to listen. If we centered ourselves in the morning with God and gratitude, we wouldn't worry about what we were doing all day, because the Holy Spirit would align you where you're supposed to be.
Well,
that was my lesson today. The Holy Spirit will align you where you need to go if you would shut your mouth and listen.
Okay. I didn't ask you to come on my show and step all on my toes.
I know, I'm kidding.
But this is exactly what I needed, because I had a question about the impact of gratitude on our priorities and time management. And you've addressed it, because we got the self-care in there. It shows that we value ourselves enough to sit down and be quiet in the presence of our Creator long enough to hear him direct us for the day. And I needed to hear that peace be still reminder, because there's so much that can distract us, and bright, shiny objects and challenges alike.
And distractions, I want people to know that distractions we have to stay in alignment and kind of just be in alignment, be present, be still, and listen. And when you journal, you can see trends on what you're supposed to be seeing, right? And I encourage someone to write down what they're grateful for every day, just one thing, and it can't be the same thing for 30 days. So if you just wrote one thing you're grateful for in the morning, I am happy and grateful for, fill in the blank. And then you write 30 days different. You're going to look at the world differently. Like, I'm grateful for this warm cup of coffee. I'm grateful that I could afford groceries this weekend. I'm grateful that I can afford gas. I'm grateful I have a car. I'm grateful I have 17 birds in my backyard because I bought some Mac Daddy bird seed and they're coming from everywhere. I need air traffic control. Right. I'm grateful for that. But I look for it. I'm seeking out the good instead of saying, I got to go feed the birds again. They're eating all the food. Well, I started feeding them. That's my fault. So we flip the switch because we want the negative mind is our natural state.
Mm.
And the devil would love to keep us there all the time.
Yes, he would.
But gratitude flips the switch. You can't hang out with fear and worry when you're saying, I'm happy and grateful. What's going well in this situation? Even when my dad died 4 years ago, people say, well, why are you so grateful? I was like, he was sick for 8 years. He didn't want to be here anymore.
Mm.
He was done. He needed to go.
Wow.
And I was grateful to be there. That I own my own company. I've been an entrepreneur since 2001, and I could spend a month with him there and 3 months with my mother when he passed away.
Mm.
I didn't have to ask Mother May I from corporate America, can I have 3 days off to hang out with my mother? No, I spent a lot of time there. And so I was grateful for that. A lot of people say, oh, how can you be grateful for death? Well, sometimes it's the best way. Wake up in heaven. You know, you die and you wake up in heaven the next day. I mean, I don't know why that's so bad.
It certainly isn't. That is the big finale and the grand finish for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Well, Kim, how does gratitude help us to reframe or help us to shape success or the definition of success? I have found in my practice just over the past several weeks that I am learning to appreciate the now because I realized that I was on that achievement hamster wheel of what I want, what I'm seeking, what I want to acquire or achieve. And it's so empty. It's like, I often use this analogy of putting a ladder up against the wall and then you climb into the top and you realize, I had this up against the wrong wall. And it's
yeah.
disappointing. You feel empty, unfulfilled. And it's like I put all of this energy into doing something that doesn't make me feel like I thought it would.
Right. Well, a lot of people that achieve massive success, if you watch and study them, they practice gratitude. They might not talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, 90% of our presidents were thank you note writers. They wrote thank you notes, handwritten. If you study them, and writing a thank you note is an act of gratitude and appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what I tell people is that putting gratitude as a lifestyle actually elevates your lifestyle, right? Because if you say, a lot of people, like you're doing a coaching program. So let me just walk you through maybe what you think. You're like, you did the coaching program and you had some people say yes. A lot of people in this industry, and even people that do events, they'll say, well, only 5 people said yes. Well, why don't we celebrate the ones that said yes and pour into them at our highest level, show appreciation and gratitude, and wow them while they're here.
Absolutely.
And not focus on who didn't say yes and who said no. I'm having an event tomorrow, a lunch and learn. And I got a lot of RSVPs from people who show up well, who couldn't come. They RSVP'd immediately. I have 15 people who said yes. That's amazing. And the people that didn't say anything, didn't respond, or didn't think enough of me to get back to me, some of those people don't do life well. And it's because they don't have these habits and characteristics of how they think about that. People who are always kind of like, oh, my life is yucky, my life. And you look around and you're like, do you see why your life is like yucky? Like you don't respond, you ghost people, you're always angry, you're always negative, you live in fear and worry. All that is the law of attraction and vibration. And they can't understand why they're always in a pickle. But it's because they're always in those 150 anger megahertz. They're attracting that negative lifestyle to themselves, and they have to escalate their vibration. I study it on a daily basis.
Well, that takes me to my next question for you, Kim. How do you personally stay encouraged and in that space of gratitude in challenging times? The past week in the United States has been traumatic for many, and the past 2 years and 3 years, and we could go on. Yet, what does Kim do?
I read the news. I don't watch it.
Mm,
Turn that television off.
I agree.
Watch what you're watching. You're filling your mind. Do not watch television. I actually spent some time with some friends in Florida, and they're like, oh my gosh, we're always so angry. And I said, you never turn off Fox News. I actually had to go ground myself outside and do a lot of energy work to be there. Because what happens is you don't realize you have to become consciously aware of negative energy around yourself. And this is what my coach and mentor will tell me, Jack Canfield. He's my coach. He's my mentor. I'm a trainer for him. We have to learn to be around positive energy. And how do we let go of negative energy if we're around it? How do we let go of it? So it's, you listen to music. I will, if I find myself, if I feel the devil trying to fill my head with worry, first of all, I become consciously aware of it. Okay, what's happening here? Why am I having this negative thought? I don't normally have negative thoughts. Why am I having this negative thought? So I become consciously aware of it. Then I change my state with music. I do bounce and shake, which changes your energy level. I'll go walk. I'll call someone who's high energy. Like I have people in my life that I know when I call them, they're like, oh my gosh, la, 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 la. Like they're going to be like, not like, oh my God, my day is horrible. I'm not going to call those people because they're going to drag me right down into 150 megahertz. So I'm going to call people I know that are going to elevate my energy level. But it's becoming consciously aware. See, people are unconsciously unaware. Then they become consciously aware. And the third step is, do they make change? So you know that you're living a negative lifestyle. You know that you're hanging out with negative people. You know that most of your thoughts are fearful and worried. Okay, you're consciously aware of it now. Step 3 is you're going to do something about it. Step 4 is it's how you show up. You don't even realize that you're walking in gratitude because this is just how you live your lifestyle. And step 4 is it is who you are. It's very difficult for me to get in an angry or worry mode because I don't live there anymore. It has to be really big for me to like feel angry or worried. It just does because.
Okay, so for our overachievers, and I put myself in that, I am working actively to come out of that and just be. And it's like, it's not about what I do or what I accomplish or check the box. But how long does this process take?
It's every day. You have to work on it every day. And this is why. This is what my spiritual coach told me. He told me on our last coaching session, which I wrote it down. I said, you got to stop. I got to write this down. So trust, because he literally told me this story. He's like, where he had total faith and trust in God, that God will show up. That God just shows up. God will bear fruit when you need it. See, we're always worried about how's the fruit going to get here? God, okay, you're going to bear some fruit. I'm going to get some more of these. I'm low in cash flow. Where's the Benjamin Franklin? I've been there. I've been down to my last $1,500 and God will be like, ooh, here you go. Because guess what? The little birds outside don't worry about where their next meal's coming from. He gives them that when he needs it. So my coach said to me, my spiritual coach, who keeps me in alignment, because coaches should have coaches, and he's one of my favorites. He said, trust in God is like bread. If you don't renew it every day with gratitude, I'm in the Word, I'm studying, I have, the Word of the day on my phone, I'm studying, I'm leaning into where does God want me with grace, gratitude, and journaling. It gets stale like bread.
Hmm.
Trusting God, if not, it gets stale. If you're not in, it's a day. Think about this. Think about, it's just like exercise. It's the culmination of, now, Karen, I would love to just jog around the neighborhood one time and never have to do it again.
True.
Wouldn't we all, that would all be nice. But when I consistently walk the dog, consistently do 10,000 steps a day, not in a week, that's happened because I love to work. I'll stand right here and just work and never move my bum. That's not healthy for me. Think
Right.
about gratitude is works just like exercise.
Hmm.
Is so if we stop using it, we lose it and we let fear and worry creep in. So I do it every day. Like even today, I had this worry thought about my event yesterday for tomorrow. And I was like, what is that all about? I've been doing event. My first event was with Michael Jordan in 1996. And I'm worried about this little lunch and learn for 15 people. And so that's just the devil trying to keep me where I need to be. He don't want me to go speaking to people tomorrow. He would love for me to stay home and get a cold and never speaking to anybody. So we have to work on it on a daily basis. We can't let it get stale like bread.
Wow. That is really powerful. Wow.
And when he said that, I was like, oh, because he was like, I struggle with the same things you do. He said, I have to renew my faith every day because life happens. Life is always going to be happening to us. Death, despair, like Jack Canfield will say, Kim, turn on the news. Somebody died. Somebody got in a car wreck. Something happened bad. The gory sells. They're not going to go online and say somebody went and, like I have a friend in Florida who's packing 35 breakfasts a Saturday and he goes to a homeless camp downtown somewhere in Florida and he gives out 35 biscuits every Saturday to homeless people. I never see that on the news. You're not going to see that on the news because that doesn't sell advertising. And so I limit the negative noise in my world is the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all what you put in, junk out.
I agree. And I was taught that television was called programming for a
It
reason
is.
because it's programming your mind to think in a certain way. And so when we are passive, then that programming is just feeding in and it's usually not positive. So I did a disconnect from my technology this weekend, for the Memorial Day weekend. And I was just so much more pleasant because I wasn't constantly bombarded by the spams in my inboxes. And I just
Right.
got a moment to just rest and experience the real reality, not reality shows, but life and the people in it, not on a screen or in a frame. And it was just refreshing.
And I think people are craving that. They're
I think so
craving
too.
real relationships and and social media is fine. I ask God every week, can I get off Facebook? And he's like, no, because you're inspiring someone, you're planting seeds. So, because I didn't use social media in my last life, until I was this influencer of gratitude, I didn't get on social media. And so I believe in building relationships one person at a time. And that's how I build businesses. And we really have to get back to human beings and serve people at our highest self and be grateful for them being in our world. 5,000 followers will not give you more of these. It's not going to happen. This is not, relationships drive revenue. Relationships, my business partner came up with this the other day. ROI is relationships over income.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. Build the relationships, and this will show up. Nobody's wowing anyone anymore. Nobody's like taking the time to say, I really appreciate you coming to this event. I really appreciate you taking time to hang out with me. It's all with them. What's in it for me?
yeah. Well, Kim, you have built another successful and lucrative business since you were in the insurance industry, since you were in corporate America. What do you tell business owners who may be skeptical or wary of a quantifiable impact of gratitude on their business or their bottom line? Because we were talking about how it makes us feel, how it helps our self-care. We feel more fulfilled, we're happier, we're lighter, our attitudes change. But what about when it does come down to the Benjamins? What impact, like how do you talk to business owners?
Well, their next best customer is coming from a current customer, right? I told the story today I have a next door and gratitude coaching mastery I do every Tuesday from 2 to 3 to teach business owners next door. And God told me you're going to lead with next door, and they come for next door and actually teach them gratitude, kind of like bait and switch. They think they're coming for next door, and I do teach them that, but today they got gratitude training. And so I tell people, it's the fact you're running around looking for you're looking for new customers at the expense of ignoring the ones you currently have. I'm actually working with a client right now. I started coaching him in August. He works for corporate America. He could not use social media. He could not use anything to blast out to say that he was doing this side work to kind of work himself out of corporate America. He was only supposed to come into coaching for 90 days. He had no customers, 0. He's been in coaching ever since, monthly, and now he has 27 clients. And we did all of that with gratitude, appreciation, and thank you notes. And he's like, oh my God, and connecting. So I teach people, when you have a customer, you should also be looking for ways to help their business grow. Like, so if you have a customer, you could say, hey, who's your ideal client? Maybe I know someone that needs to know you. And you intentionally connect that person with someone who's mutually beneficial to them. I'm a very big connector. I connect about 4 to 5 people a week. And when you become that person who connects without anything being in it for me. Now, so if I connected you, Kayren, to someone who needed to meet, or they needed to meet you, and there's nothing in it for Kim, I'm not attached to it. There's so many people that say, why would I do that? Why would I take time out of my day to connect to people? Well, when you're living at your highest self in gratitude, you're not attached to that, because you know God sorts it out somewhere else in the journey, and it might not be directly from them. I coach a lot of real estate agents, and they'll say, well, we sent the gratitude in the mail, and I got a listing, but it wasn't from the person who I sent the, gift in the mail to. Well, they have friends. They're not a hermit. You've ignored them for 2 years. They forgot about you. It's your job to stay top of mind. And we do that with gratitude in my world. Now, we don't send them a thing and say it's buy one, get one. We say we appreciate you. Or we'll say, thanks for connecting me. Here's a $5 Starbucks card. Have a coffee on me. And so that's the way we want to show up in gratitude, and the Benjamins come. Now, it's a longer play, but let me tell you what happened during COVID. My clients that were relationship minded and not transactional minded kept their business open.
Wow.
They survive economic winters. People that are transactional minded, they don't answer the phone, they don't get back to people. They're going to have a lot of fun in this inflationary economy we're about to step into, because they don't have deep enough relationships with roots to keep their business open.
I love what you said about the collaborations and the connections, because you're right. It's all about relationships. And the funny thing about God sorting it out, like you pointed that out, we can't purchase good health.
No.
We can't purchase a good night's sleep. We can't purchase a relationship being restored. That has to come from God. So it's like, I was guilty of, my children are now teenagers, almost young adults. Well, they are. I'm a few steps behind. But I would tell them something, and then I'd expect, okay, why are you not doing what I just said? And I've actually said this 5 times. And because my husband is very patient with me, and he also is a gardener / farmer, he's got all sorts of stuff around the yard. And so there's this one rose bush out front that blooms, and it just ministers to me. It speaks to me all the time, because I've seen that thing look dead as a doorknob. And then you'll see a bud, and then it'll start to blossom and open and unfold. And I'm like, I thought it was dead. And so it's like those things that we thought were dormant, they're not dead. And so when we nurture and nourish those relationships, it makes absolute sense that it will bring forth fruit in its season. And so I've had to learn that about
Woo,
myself.
girl, I love
That
it.
I'm not that patient. I'm not as patient as
Well,
I thought
patience
I
is
was.
one of my biggest struggles because, and the farmer analogy is very much when I journal, I get it a lot because what your husband doesn't do, which we tend to do as business owners and salespeople.
Watch the
'Cause
grass blades grow.
every salesperson who owns a business, every business owner who owns a business and you don't have a sales team, let me just listen up, write this down. You are in sales. Because I've had business owners say, well, I'm not in sales. I'm like, oh, well, let me see your sales team. Oh, I don't have a sales team. Well, then if you own the business, you are the sales team. Let me just break that news to you. So a lot of people want to throw corn out in the yard, put it under the ground. They don't want to water it, nurture it, weed it, wait for it to grow. Some of it will die. Some of it will grow. Some of it will be big. Some of it will be small. And then eventually you eat corn. But the farmer does not go out there. Your husband does not go out there, plant the corn, and they go out
And
there
then want cornbread the next day like I do.
and then say, how y'all doing under there? And they dig up the dirt. What y'all doing under there? That's what we want to do as business owners. Because this is what I challenge people. This is what I challenge my students today. This was their homework. I said, I challenge you to look at where did your last, let's just say 3 customers came from. And they have to check the boxes of this. You enjoyed working with them. So your customer was fun, right? Because we want to work with fun people.
Absolutely.
They were, and you made revenue. And if you had if you looked up at your client list and you had a bunch of these same people, these same avatars, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And you look at those 3 people, your last 3 customers, where did they come from? Where did they come from? They don't fall out of the sky, darling. Because I did this this own homework on myself. So I asked one of my last private clients, because it seemed like she popped out of the sky without any water and nurturing or anything. I was like, oh, where did you come from? You're so amazing. I love working with you. I'd love to just have a whole bunch of views. She's in New Jersey. She's an amazing real estate agent. And she said, oh, I saw you on a webinar about 2 years ago with a magazine I help real estate agents use and insurance agents and all that. And she said, I saw you on the webinar for Reminder Media. Okay. She said, I signed up for something you were giving away and you've been drip marketing on me this whole time. And then she came into our group coaching, which is like $97 a month. And then she said, oh, no, I want to work with Kim directly, which is an application process. And so she ended up being this amazing private client that I love working with. And she's phenomenal. And we have fun working together. She didn't fall out of the sky, girl. 2 years. So that corn is very amazing. But people don't start a business and have corn right away. It's a lot of work.
And the more that we stop focusing on the individual corns and start spreading, then that's when our lives become more full, more rich, and more fulfilled.
Amen. You are exactly right.
I get it.
Yes.
It's like if we take the time to just slow down and think it through, it makes perfect sense. But when we're on that hamster wheel, we're distracted by, oh, well, they're blowing up, or oh, they've got all of this around them and the entourage and the big glitzy, but that doesn't always last. And
no, girl. Well, first of all, you don't know their journey.
That's right.
See, competition, and you can write this down, is the thief of joy.
Yes.
So a lot of people don't know this about me. I saved my father's insurance agency from bankruptcy. I slept on my floor. I replaced myself with 6 people. I didn't take a paycheck for 1 year. I slung my daughter off at daycare for years and built my business on the backside of her childhood. So yes, I sold the place for 600% profit, but my journey was something a lot of people would have never done. So when they see me at Bald Head Island enjoying my life, half the time I'm working. And so a lot of people don't know how to unpack that. There are things that I've done and my husband and I have done in the last 22 years that a lot of people would have never done. They would have quit. And
So
I have a
you've
lot of,
made extraordinary sacrifices to
oh
reap
my
the
gosh. And so
extraordinary
people don't,
rewards.
like, they don't say that. They don't, that
No.
journey is so, like, even Airbnb, I met them. I'm a Tony Robbins student of Business Mastery. And he brought them on stage in 2017 when I was there. And they were 13 years old at the time. That company had been in existence for 13 years. Now, y'all think it's an overnight phenomenon, but they were like, we have barely even made it. He said, you know how many times we go to Starbucks and we sit down with an investor and we tell them that we were going to let strangers come in people's houses and they were going to rent rooms. They're like, we're out. Y'all are crazy. And they would leave. They would just leave. They were like, y'all are crazy. He said, but we just stuck with it. And so a lot of people don't have, right before they have success, right before they get to the goal, they're 3 feet away. There's a book written about this. They're right there at the goal and they quit. And the devil just, yay, they quit. No success there. They just quit.
I'm still resonating on something you said about 20 minutes ago, how you were going through the 4 steps, but all I heard in that was action, action, action. There is no place for a couch potato to be in that gratitude space. Like, it is an active work that we must intentionally participate in. Now, it's got great rewards, but like you say, it's going to cost. It's going to cost me the time it takes to pick up a pen, not to send a text, and write that thank you note. Reach out and let somebody know. Now, do you say that phone calls also have the same impact, or is it more just the written? Because
I do. So I do handwritten thank you notes. I do automated birthday cards and gifts. That's automated out. Nobody cares. I've been doing that for 12 years. Nobody's ever said, Kim, that birthday kid you sent me in the mail with the, printed card, don't do that anymore, because they're just grateful they got something. Actually, one of my clients said to me last year, you're the only one that sent me anything. Right? Thanks. You're the only one that sent me anything in the mail, right? I love to be that person. I mean, I wish they got more birthday gifts, but they just don't. And gratitude calls, if you're here's the fastest way to increase these. If you are in a cash flow crunch, and I've worked many clients through this, I can't even tell you how many I've done. I will script gratitude calls, and I have them on my website if you don't know what to say. I've had many people call me in a January or December and saying, oh my God, I need cash. And I'm like, okay, well then get your top A clients, their phone numbers and their names out, and start calling them up on the phone and just checking in. Now I have a whole script. And so, of course, this is what they do. You want me to do it for you? When I tell them to make gratitude calls and generate cash flow, you know what they do? Really? Are you kidding me? She's going to make me do gratitude. They roll their eyes every time. And so one of my clients made 37 phone calls, carpet cleaner, generated $8,700 in cash flow. Wow. I had one client, she was literally like, I don't even know if we can keep the doors open. I said, smile and dial, baby. Smile and dial, chicklet. Because what happens is your clients miss your voice and they feel appreciated. And they might have had you on the to-do list to call, but they just, like dentists. Why do you think dentists always have a full? Why do you think dentists always have a waiting list and they have full seats all the time, full chairs? Why do you think that? I always tell people, be the dentist. If you have a good dentist that does this. They put you on the calendar every 6 months. They ask you to be put on the calendar.
Right? Before you leave.
They're filling their calendar before you leave. They check in with you. Right?
Yeah.
And so they're calling. Hey, you haven't done your appointment. Where's your appointment? You canceled your appointment. So I even teach my plumbers. I teach my painters. I teach my power washers. You need to be calling and getting your schedule booked. It's your job to remind your clients you exist. It's not their job to remember you.
Mm-hmm.
And so we smile and dial. I did this last quarter. I did this the last quarter, first quarter of the year. I just reached out what is my black lab doing? I'm like, what is my dog doing? And I just called up clients. And you know what one of my clients said to me? He's a
What?
flooring company in Fort Mill. He's amazing. Rooted in faith. He said, I get your emails. I get your texts. I get your birthday brownies. You're awesome. I get your magazine. He gets my magazine 6 times a year. And I said, how may I help you? What do you need me to help you with in your business? He said, you know what? I need this, this, and this. Well, I generated about $2,500 out of that one phone call.
Wow.
Wow. Because guess what's not happening? No one is dialing these anymore. No one is making calls. No one is checking in on their past relationships or their current relationships and saying, hey, what are you doing? How's it going? Is there anything I can do to serve you better? Is there somebody you need to meet? How's your business?
Kim, what you're reminding us of is the scripture that we have this treasure in earthen vessels, and we have been undervaluing what God placed in us. We might not have that cash flow going, but we got a mouth and we got a phone.
Right.
And that's a start.
Right.
And
So when
that's
you start
born to sow in the ground.
When you start with
Wow.
gratitude and not, I'm calling because it's buy one, get one, and we want to get, no. It's all about checking in on a human being beyond the transaction, right? Think about this. Where are you checking in on your customers with a phone call to just say, hey, what's happening? You know, how's your life?
Absolutely. And
It's
people
super
need that
powerful.
now more than ever.
Right. Call your 5 top clients in the next 24 hours and say, hey, even if they don't answer, leave a voicemail and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. You know, is there anything I can do for you this year? What's happening in your world? Whatever. I mean, I've got a gratitude call script for it, but it's just really checking in and saying, what's up? That's what we've gotten away from. And the first
And
thing
I care. I
that you
care about
right.
you.
Because guess what we missed, Kayren, when my dad first died, what was the first thing I missed?
Talking to him.
The voice.
Hmm.
You miss the voice. You cannot replicate the voice. I can read his letters. I can look at his pictures. I can watch videos. But I've gotten back to doing more check-in calls with top clients, and they're elated that I'm calling them up. I called one last Friday, and I said, God just wanted me to call you back about something. And he's like, oh, I want you to help me with this national initiative for Keller Williams. And I was like, what? And he's like, I've been meaning to call you. I was like, oh, that's why God wanted me to call you. And I've been sending that guy birthday brownies. Met him in 2018. He doesn't pay us every month. I've been sending him birthday brownies for 4 years. Now, he didn't forget about me. See, if I hadn't done that, which was my job, to thank him for whatever, my goal is to send 1 million birthday gifts a year eventually, is he couldn't forget about me. And so he was reminded that I could help him with this national initiative.
Wow.
4 years.
And the reminder for me is stop looking at the rosebud and wondering when is it going to bloom. Because I caught myself and I was like, well, you know what? After it blooms, it's gone in a few days. So what am I rushing this whole thing for? Why am I not just enjoying this moment of beauty? And I really had to. And so all of that has come with my gratitude reflections. So, Kim, I am absolutely over the top delighted that after knowing me for all of 1 week, you accepted my invitation
You're
to
awesome.
come and be on the Convo Lab. And I would like to ask you to close us out in prayer because I know that your heartbeat is for people. And so, for the people who may be watching this on the replay or watching us right now, who feel like they don't have much to be grateful for, Kim, would you lead us in prayer?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Dear God, be with everyone who is called to watch this amazing conversation with us today and give them hope and gratitude and flourish their businesses and let people show up that need to be served by these amazing business owners and humans, spreading joy and gratitude in the world. And let them bear fruit from the seeds they plant and let them plant seeds all over the place and inspire others to be amazing. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.
Amen,
Amen.
amen, and amen. I am so delighted that you came and shared all of these nuggets of wisdom and truth and light and encouragement. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my sister. You
Oh,
have
thank you for
made
having me.
my day. This is a great way to close out the month, and so many things for me to go back and rewatch, take more notes, and begin to do the work. Not just writing it down, but walking in gratitude and living grateful intentionally. Kim, thank you so much for being on the Convo Lab. You're welcome back anytime. And Convo Lab audience, this is our episode for today. Was this not magnificent? If you enjoyed today's conversational collaboration, stay tuned. We've got some more fantastic episodes coming up. This is season 2 of the Convo Lab. I am your host, Kayren Cathcart, and I pray that you will continue to be blessed, stay encouraged, and I'll see you again soon on the next episode. We got some goodies coming up. Take good care. Bye.